Hi, I'm Jules from the Haines Collection, and this is our series Sustainable Interiors, where we talk to businesses who are bringing you more environmentally friendly solutions when designing your home. Last week we went and spoke to Edward Bulmer in his beautiful house. We discussed his stunning natural paints and the kind of questions that you should be asking when buying paint. I hope you enjoy it. No, I certainly would not say that.
I was going to say, actually, I've got the old lilac on, haven't I?
Can I ask you about the Barnaby Gates ones? Because
of course.
I love Barnaby Gates.
And
the making. Yes, exactly.
You don't get a frill like it.
Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Jules Haines from the Haines Collection, and we're with Edward Bulmer of Edward Bulmer Paints. So, how did this start? How did you get into making beautiful, environmentally friendly paints?
Well, my day job is as an interior designer, and a little while ago I had a project where I was asked to make sure that everything I used on the project wouldn't present any environmental or health hazard. Many of the materials I used were pretty much as sustainable as you can be. They were wood, they were wool, they were stone, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was only really when I focused on paint and I started talking to manufacturers, and they either didn't want to tell me anything or potentially didn't actually know that much themselves. But what became apparent actually after I just took a deep dive into the whole subject, and it was like investigative journalism, really. It wasn't like normal product selection. And paint was a nasty business then. Even in the 1980s, the World Health Organization had looked into it and produced a report that summarised painters having a carcinogenic profession. Well, hey, that's just not right, and clearly I wasn't going to be able to say my paints tick the box. And so I worked with our painters and we sourced a natural paint. The revelation then was just how beautiful it looked. It turned my head. I couldn't go back to whatever else it was I was using at the time.
And so with your paints being totally natural, what does that actually mean? So everything in it, the whole ingredient, is that the core?
Up until, let us say, 100 years ago, all paint was natural paint. And then we started to produce energy systems that relied on fuels, petrol. There are a lot of kind of wet plastics out there, all those chemical-based coatings that we use these days are effectively wet plastics. The binder is a polymer derived from
and that's what was in paint previously.
So even an eco-friendly paint of today will still be made with a crude oil derived binder.
Gosh, interesting.
You're looking a bit surprised.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah, goodness.
It's surprising because I think the term eco-friendly normally indicates that we should think this is planet appropriate, if you like.
Exactly.
And it's not.
And we know about greenwashing in fashion, so it sounds like potentially there's greenwashing in paints and interiors in that way.
There is, yeah. Although it's a real problem in many areas, you do, at least when you buy a garment, get treated as sufficiently grown up to want to know what it's made of, and you have a label on the back of it and you can see. Yeah. But paint, no. There's no such label on the back of a tin of paint. There'll be the scary stuff, like the hand with the
don't touch it.
The gouge and the dead tree,
exactly.
And the fish. But no, and that's just compliance stuff. But on the whole, we're using, as we've discovered, to tragic cost in things like cladding. We're using stuff in building that we just should be much more careful about.
Yeah. Would you like there to be some kind of legislation to change when it comes to paint?
I think that you can't say thou shalt be sustainable. Our best consumer is an expectant mum, because they're so inquiring, Their priorities are absolutely as you should be if you're deciding what's the right thing to bring into my home, what to have around my newborn.
Yeah.
And so what do you need to know? Well, you at least need to know what's inside the product you're making. You're buying, you're about to buy.
Yeah.
And so we think, yes, like if you're Prime Minister offering me some legislative time, please will you insist, make it mandatory, that all paint and coatings, you should probably say, a lot of varnishes and things are nastier, should have a full declaration of ingredients on the tin.
Yeah.
And a meaningful one.
Yeah,
definitely. Not just sort of kind of marketing spin.
Yeah, that sort of covers it over.
Exactly. But I do think that now we're out there offering a premium paint that is natural.
Yeah.
I really think everybody else should now be asking, why am I paying what I'm paying for these other premium paints and they're not natural?
Yeah.
Because by giving them my money, I'm giving myself a less safe environment once the paint's all on the wall, and I'm awarding the rest of the planet with a bit of collateral damage. So let's think about how we make things so that waste isn't the output, if you like.
Exactly.
And let's be really defensive about that. And let's just be a bit more human, actually.
Yeah.
When you're a small company, you probably end up shipping product in the containers that the manufacturer wants you to have. We are working with ours so that we're switching to much larger containers. We found one that we can actually put a recyclable liner in it and empty out the paint. It's filled in Germany into this liner, into this IBC. It's then brought over to us. We take out the paint and the IBC folds down like that, and we can stack 8 to 10 of them on a pallet and we send them back.
Wow, that's so efficient.
I mean, that is a significant saving of waste. But it's hard to get there until you've grown to a certain level. So, one needs to be, I think, very hard on big companies who could solve this like that and are probably even paying someone in their organisation to do it, get them to do it and stop the greenwashing.
Yeah.
But small companies, don't be too hard on them.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate initiatives like yours where I imagine you've started from nothing, but you've seen that maybe you could make a sustainable economic model, but that what's, I think, firing you up is a mission to do some good. Yeah. And that, and that's where business needs to go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, why wouldn't it?
No, exactly. No, I totally agree. And particularly if you're passionate about it, it's something that drives you in your business, which obviously the same for you.
Waste paint, by the way, you'll find quite difficult to deal with, because as soon as a tin of paint is opened, it's classed as hazardous waste.
Even your paint, which is made of...
Our paint didn't exist when all that legislation was made, probably, yes. But we help people order the right amount, as much as possible. Yeah. And then we would say, either store it, because if you can store it with not too much air in it, it'll keep reasonably well. Yeah. Give it away. There are some very good charity reuse schemes. But actually, if you really wanted to get an empty tin, you can put all of our paint in the air and it will dry, and when dried, you can literally put it on the compost heap.
That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So, and it will just degrade to its constituent parts.
Yeah, exactly. And you can obviously rinse your tin out and just pour it straight down the drain.
Yeah, but I think this whole kind of rinsing of paint it's absolutely everybody's kind of without thinking procedure, isn't it? You put your brush under the tap, leave the tap running. Well, why are there so many more microplastics in the sea than we need there? And one of the answers is paint. I mean, far more of an answer than cosmetics.
With your production process, you offset your carbon, is that right?
The production facility in Germany doesn't use any fossil fuel energy systems. And so there are solar panels and what have you. But there is always some carbon burden before the stuff gets to you. So like titanium dioxide is one of the principal, it's the white in all paint actually. And it is quite carbon intensive to produce it. So if you're responsible, you recognise that, in a sense, you have to offset. So you do it through offset schemes. You know, one of the things we would like to do is potentially not use titanium dioxide, but it's a lot better than the previous white pigment, which was lead white. You know?
Yeah.
And while we would be happy to maybe see everybody using line paints, we don't have the skills base, to be honest, in either the DIY or the professional sectors to happily just use line paints. So everything is compromised, you know. So.
Chipping away, slowly making those changes. One last question, which is a question that I always ask at the end. So you're on a desert island, and which paint would you take? What would you paint your shack or whatever you end up building, your tree house on your desert island?
That's a good one, isn't it? Quite a lot of our colours reference the sea, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
This one, for instance, is called azurite. Actually, it's referencing a mineral, but a lot of people think of, you know, the Azores and the Azure Sea. The colour that was here before was called aquatic, and that would be tempting, but I think if I'm on an island surrounded by the sea,
you might have had enough.
Maybe I'll just go for one of our nice kind of warm, I suppose it might be too hot, but anyway, we've got some lovely warm colours like malahide or Dutch orange, which are just kind of enveloping, and I think they would be comforting. They'd be my choice.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you have any feedback, we'd love to hear it. Put it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because we've got more coming in this series. In fact, next week we're talking to Studio Genetti about their beautiful products, so we will see you there.